Hello, friends and family. Today's short story is Noah, who is from Jerusalem. Let's begin. In the bustling heart of a city untouched by time, where ancient stones whispered secrets of past glories, a man named Noah went about his daily routine. His eyes, the color of a cloudless sky, were often lost in thought, his mind a canvas for 1,000 untold tales. With a stride that spoke of both confidence and a hint of weariness, Noah navigated the narrow cobblestone streets of Jerusalem, dodging the playful laughter of children and the rhythmic chant of merchants. His beard, neatly trimmed and shot through with silver, framed a face that had seen more than its fair share of both joy and sorrow. As he passed the market, the scents of exotic spices and freshly baked bread filled the air, a tantalizing symphony to his senses. The vibrant colors of the fabrics and the gleaming metals of the crafted goods reflected the midday sun, casting a kaleidoscope of light that danced around him. Despite the warm embrace of the day, a chill ran down Noah's spine as he felt the weight of his ancestors' history pressing down upon him. The ancient walls of the city seemed to whisper of battles won and lost, of empires rising and falling, and of a faith that had endured through the ages. Noah, a man with a storied gaze, traversed the timeless streets of Jerusalem, surrounded by children's laughter and merchant chants. His silver-flecked beard revealed his life's journey. The vibrant market's scents and sights stirred a sense of history within him, as the city's ancient walls echoed with tales of bygone battles and enduring faith. Turning a corner, Noah found himself at the entrance of a small, unassuming alleyway that had always intrigued him. It was quieter here, as if the very air held its breath, in respect for the sacredness of the place. The buildings leaned in, as if sharing a secret that only a chosen few were privy to. He had often wondered what hidden stories lay behind the cracked and peeling paint, the ivy that wove a delicate tapestry up the ancient stones. Today, something was different. An old man with a cart full of artifacts sat at the mouth of the alley, his eyes gleaming with the wisdom of centuries. His clothes, though threadbare, bore an air of dignity that seemed to defy their tattered state. Noah had seen him before, but they had never exchanged more than a nod of recognition. "You look like a man in search of something, my son," the old man said, his voice a gentle rumble of ancient knowledge. Noah felt a sudden urge to confide in him, to share the unspoken yearning that had been growing within him. "Perhaps," he replied, pausing his steps, "I feel the whispers of the past calling to me, but I don't know where to find their source." Entering a quiet alley, Noah encountered an aged vendor whose dignity transcended his tattered attire. The old man, recognizing Noah's curiosity, addressed him, suggesting he sought something elusive. Noah admitted feeling drawn to the city's past whispers, but was unsure how to uncover their origins. The vendor looked up, his gaze piercing through the veil of time. "Follow your heart," he said with a knowing smile, "for it is often the gateway to our most profound truths." He handed Noah a small, dusty object wrapped in a cloth. "This may be of help to you." Unwrapping it, Noah found an intricately carved amulet, the metal cool and smooth against his skin. The design was unfamiliar, yet strangely comforting, like a melody from a distant memory. Intrigued, Noah slipped the amulet into his pocket and ventured into the alley. The shadows grew deeper as the sun dipped lower, and the cobblestones grew slick with the promise of a coming storm. The walls closed in, whispering secrets that grew more urgent with every step he took. His heart pounded in his chest, like a drum heralding a call to adventure. The alley opened into a small, sunlit courtyard, where an ancient well stood sentinel over a jumble of forgotten relics. The well was surrounded by a low stone wall, and an arched doorway, now boarded up, beckoned from the far end. Noah approached the well, his hand resting on the worn stones that had borne the weight of countless pilgrims seeking solace or wisdom. He leaned over the edge, peering into the darkness, and felt a strange pull, a siren's call from the depths of the earth. The dignified old vendor offered Noah an enigmatic amulet as a guide to his quest. Venturing into a mysterious alley, Noah discovered a secluded courtyard with an ancient well and a boarded archway. The setting sun and encroaching shadows intensified the whispers of the past, resonating with the rhythm of his heart. He heard the sound of shuffling footsteps behind him and turned to find the old vendor standing there. "This is the Well of Souls," the man said, his eyes gleaming with an unspoken mystery. "It is said that those who dare to listen can hear the whispers of those who have come before." Noah's curiosity piqued. He leaned closer to the well. At first, there was only the distant echo of his own breath. Then, faintly, he heard the whispers, voices from another time, speaking in tongues long forgotten. The words grew clearer, more insistent, and a name emerged from the cacophony: Elijah. The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end, and the amulet in his pocket grew warmer with every echo of the name. The old vendor's eyes twinkled. "The amulet you carry is that of a guardian, a protector of ancient knowledge. With it, you may find the answers you seek. But beware, for not all secrets are meant to be shared." He then vanished as swiftly as he had appeared, leaving Noah alone with his racing thoughts. The old vendor revealed the well's significance as a conduit for ancestral whispers. Upon hearing the name Elijah, the amulet warmed, confirming its ties to ancient guardianship. The vendor then disappeared, leaving Noah with a cryptic warning about the nature of the knowledge he might uncover. In Jerusalem, Noah, an inquisitive man, meets an aged vendor in a bustling market. The vendor, noticing Noah's curiosity about the city's history, gives him an amulet linked to ancient guardians. The amulet reacts to the name Elijah near a significant well, hinting at a hidden past. The vendor warns of the amulet's powerful ties before vanishing. Noah looked down at the amulet again, feeling its pulse against his skin. The name Elijah resonated in his mind. He had heard it before, in the whispers of his grandfather's tales, a prophet whose spirit was said to roam the city, guiding the lost. He approached the boarded doorway with newfound purpose, the whispers growing more urgent with every step. His hands trembled as he reached out to push aside the decaying wood. The door gave way with a groan, revealing a staircase that descended into the bowels of the earth. The air grew thick with the scent of dust and age as Noah descended into the darkness, the amulet in his pocket glowing softly to light his way. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices that seemed to beckon him forward. He felt a strange kinship with the spirits of the past, as if their stories were a part of his very soul. The staircase wound deeper and deeper, the walls lined with ancient carvings that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. The shadows danced around him, playing tricks on his eyes, hinting at figures that vanished when he tried to focus on them. The whispers grew clearer, more defined, and Noah could discern a pattern, a story being told in fragments woven through the very fabric of the stone. Driven by the amulet's warmth and the whispers of Elijah, Noah entered a hidden staircase beneath the well. The ancient carvings along the walls brought the whispers to life, revealing a fragmented narrative that grew more coherent as he descended, suggesting a deep historical connection to his lineage. The stairs ended in a chamber that looked as if it had not seen the light of day for centuries. A single beam of light pierced the gloom, illuminating a pedestal at the center of the room. On it lay an open scroll, yellowed with age, but the ink still starkly black. The whispers grew to a crescendo. The name Elijah, now a chant that seemed to resonate through the very air. He felt the amulet's warmth spread through his body, a silent urging to draw closer. As Noah approached the pedestal, the whispers grew into a cacophony of voices, each telling a piece of a story that spanned millennia. They spoke of a sacred artifact, hidden deep within the city, that could alter the course of history. The voices grew louder, more insistent, until they formed a single, clear message. Find Elijah's flame. Guard it well, for it shall be the beacon of truth in a world of shadows. The scroll was bound in ancient leather, adorned with symbols that matched the amulet's intricate design. He unfurled it carefully, the parchment crackling like dry leaves beneath his trembling fingers. The text, written in an ancient script, spoke of prophecies and guardians, men and women chosen by fate to safeguard the flame. His heart racing, Noah realized that he might be the latest in a long line of protectors. In the subterranean chamber, Noah found an ancient scroll revealing the prophecy of Elijah's flame, a powerful artifact hidden in the city. The whispers identified him as a potential guardian, hinting that he had inherited a significant destiny. The chamber grew colder, the whispers fading into a hush as he read on. The flame, it said, was not a literal fire, but an emblem of truth and enlightenment, passed from guardian to guardian through generations. The scroll revealed a series of riddles, each one more cryptic than the last, that would lead him to the artifact. The weight of his newfound responsibility bore down on him, but he felt an unshakable resolve forming within. The first riddle spoke of a place where the sun kisses the earth, and Noah's mind raced with possibilities. He had lived in Jerusalem his entire life and knew of many such spots, but which one held the key? The second spoke of a gate that opens without hinges, and the third, a key that turns without locks. Each riddle was a piece of an ancient puzzle, and the amulet grew warmer with every line he deciphered. Leaving the chamber, the whispers of the well faded away, leaving only the echo of his footsteps in the deserted alley. The amulet's gentle glow guided him through the city's labyrinthine streets, leading him to the outskirts where the sun painted the horizon with fiery strokes. The first riddle spoke of a place where the sun kisses the earth, and Noah recalled a hilltop where the sunsets were legendary, a spot where lovers and pilgrims alike often gathered to watch the day's end. In the cold, ancient chamber, Noah discovered a scroll detailing the riddles that would lead to Elijah's flame. The amulet's warmth grew stronger as he deciphered each cryptic clue, guiding him through the city to a hilltop known for its spectacular sunsets. He climbed the hill, his breaths growing shorter with every step, not just from the exertion, but from the anticipation that coiled within him. At the summit, the city lay sprawled before him, a tapestry of light and shadow. The setting sun bathed everything in a warm embrace, and there, nestled between two ancient olive trees, was a stone that looked as if it had been shaped by the sun itself. The stone was smooth, almost fluid, and it radiated the same warmth as the amulet in his pocket. He touched it tentatively, and the metal grew hotter, a silent affirmation that he was on the right path. The second riddle spoke of a gate without hinges, and as Noah turned to leave, the sun's rays illuminated a peculiar stone archway, untouched by time, standing solitary in the distance. The arch had no gate, no barrier, just a silent invitation to pass through. The amulet's warmth grew more intense, a beacon leading him closer to his destiny. As he approached the arch, the shadows grew longer, stretching like fingers, reaching for the retreating light. The arch itself was adorned with carvings that mirrored the amulet's design, and the ground beneath his feet began to tremble. The tremor grew stronger, and a hidden mechanism within the archway groaned to life. The stones parted, revealing a narrow, uncharted path that descended into the earth. At the hilltop, Noah found a sun-kissed stone that confirmed he was on the right path. Following the amulet's guidance to an ancient stone arch, he faced the second riddle's gate that opens without hinges, which parted to reveal a hidden, earthbound passage. Noah took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. The amulet grew hot in his pocket, a reassuring presence that seemed to whisper, "You are the chosen one." He stepped through the gate, the stones closing silently behind him. The path was steep and treacherous, but the amulet's glow cast enough light for him to navigate the twists and turns. The air grew colder, and a faint scent of damp earth and decay filled his nostrils. Deeper and deeper he went, the whispers of the ancients echoing faintly through the tunnels. The walls were lined with more of the mysterious carvings, each one seemingly telling a piece of the story that had been lost to time. His hand traced the ancient symbols as he descended, his mind racing to piece together the puzzle. The path grew narrower, and the air grew denser, charged with an energy that made the hair on his arms stand on end. He could feel the presence of the guardians, their spirits watching over the sacred ground. The amulet pulsed with a rhythmic warmth that grew stronger with every step, guiding him closer to the hidden chamber. Descending the earthbound path, Noah felt the amulet's reassurance as he encountered more ancient carvings. The whispers grew clearer, and the amulet's light and warmth led him through the narrowing tunnels to the sacred chamber of the Guardians. The third riddle spoke of a key that turns without locks, and as Noah reached the bottom of the passage, he found himself before a massive stone door, untouched by time. It bore a keyhole, but it was unlike any he had ever seen. It was the exact shape of the amulet in his hand. He reached into his pocket and pulled it out, feeling its warmth intensify as he placed it into the keyhole. The stone door shuddered, and then, with a sound that seemed to resonate through his very bones, began to turn. The chamber beyond was vast and dimly lit by flickering torches that cast eerie shadows across the floor. The air was heavy with the scent of incense and the dust of centuries. At the far end of the room, a pedestal stood, illuminated by a single beam of light that pierced the darkness. Upon it rested a crystal, its surface etched with ancient symbols, pulsating with a soft, golden light. As Noah approached the pedestal, the amulet grew hotter, a silent affirmation that this was indeed Elijah's flame. The whispers grew into a chant, urging him to claim his destiny. His hand trembled as he reached for the crystal, and as his fingers closed around it, a surge of power coursed through his veins. The flame within the crystal flared to life, its light growing brighter and warmer, filling the chamber with a gentle glow that chased the shadows away. Solving the third riddle, Noah unlocked the ancient stone door with the amulet. Inside, the chamber held Elijah's flame, a pulsating crystal bathed in incense light. Upon touching it, he felt an overwhelming power, and the crystal's light grew, dispelling the darkness. The voices grew silent, and the air in the chamber grew still. The crystal felt alive in his hand, its pulse matching the beat of his heart. He knew without a doubt that he held in his possession a piece of history that had the power to change the world. The weight of his discovery was almost too much to bear, but the amulet, now cool to the touch, reminded him of the promise he had made to the old vendor. He looked around, expecting to find more riddles or challenges, but the room remained silent and undisturbed. The only sound was the faint crackling of the torches. He knew that the real journey was just beginning. The whispers had led him here, but it was his heart and his courage that would guide him through the trials ahead. With the crystal in hand, Noah felt a profound sense of responsibility. This was not just an artifact, it was a symbol of hope and truth. He knew that the whispers of the Guardians had chosen him for a reason, and that he must now carry the flame forward. Carefully, he wrapped the crystal in the cloth the amulet had come in, the fabric seeming to embrace it as if it had been waiting for centuries to cradle the flame once more. With the crystal secured, Noah felt the room's energy shift. The amulet had fulfilled its purpose, and the Guardian's whispers fell silent. Recognizing his responsibility, he wrapped Elijah's flame in the cloth and prepared for the trials ahead. The path back up to the surface was fraught with anticipation and trepidation. The whispers had led him here, but they had also warned of the shadows that sought to extinguish the flame. He could feel the weight of his new duty pressing down on him, and he knew that he could not ignore it. The world above had changed since the flame had been hidden, and it would be a challenge to navigate the modern world with such an ancient burden. As he emerged from the depths of the earth, the setting sun painted the sky with shades of orange and purple, a stark contrast to the darkness he had just left behind. The city was alive with the sounds of evening prayers and the bustle of people returning to their homes. Yet, amidst the chaos, Noah felt a strange serenity, the warmth of the crystal in his pocket, a constant reminder of his newfound purpose. The whispers of the Guardians grew fainter as he walked through the narrow streets, but the amulet remained warm, a beacon guiding him forward. He knew that he could not share his discovery with anyone, not even his closest friends or family. The secrets of Elijah's flame were too great, the risks too high. He had to protect it, to safeguard the truth it represented. Returning to the city, the whispers of the Guardians grew faint as Noah faced the challenge of safeguarding the crystal in the modern world. The amulet, now cool, reminded him of his solitary duty to protect the truth of Elijah's flame. Noah returned to his modest apartment, his thoughts racing. The whispers had led him to the flame, but what was he supposed to do with it now? The scroll spoke of battles against the shadows, but who or what did these shadows represent in his modern world? He felt the weight of his ancestors' trust, a lineage of guardians stretching back through time, all counting on him to ensure the flame burned brightly. Placing the crystal on a shelf above his bed, he studied it from a distance. The flame within danced in the flickering candlelight, casting mesmerizing patterns on the walls. It was beautiful, but he knew it was not just an object of beauty. It was a weapon in the fight for truth. He had to learn how to harness its power, to understand the prophecies that surrounded it. The whispers grew fainter each day, but Noah felt a growing restlessness within him. He knew that the time to act was drawing near. He spent his days researching, piecing together the clues from the scroll and the whispers of the ancients. The nights were spent in vigil, the crystal's glow keeping sleep at bay as he pondered his new role. One evening, as the last light of the day bled into the horizon, a knock came at his door. Startled, Noah cautiously approached, peering through the peephole. A young woman with piercing blue eyes and a determined look stood outside, holding a bundle of parchment. "I know you have it," she said, her voice urgent but not unkind. "The whispers have led me to you." In his apartment, Noah contemplated his new role as guardian, feeling the weight of his ancestry. The whispers of the guardians grew faint, but the crystal's allure remained. His research intensified as he prepared for the prophesied battles, and an unexpected visitor with piercing blue eyes arrived, claiming the whispers had led her to him. Noah's hand hovered over the doorknob, his heart racing. He had not expected to find kinship in his quest, yet here she was, speaking the same language as the voices that had guided him. He slowly opened the door, inviting her in. Her eyes searched the room, and when they fell upon the crystal, she gasped. "You found the first piece," she whispered, a mix of awe and relief. "My name is Leah, and I am a guardian too." Leah's eyes held a wisdom that belied her youthful appearance. She spoke of an ancient order, a secret society of guardians sworn to protect the flame from those who would use its power for evil. "The shadows are growing bolder," she said, her gaze serious. "They seek to extinguish the light of truth, and we must stand against them." Noah felt a kinship with her, a bond forged by shared destiny and the whispers of their ancestors. Together, they pored over the scroll, piecing together the prophecy that had led them to this moment. The whispers grew clearer, their voices blending with the echoes of the city outside. They spoke of an impending darkness, a time when lies would threaten to engulf the world, and only the guardians of Elijah's flame could stand against it. The riddles grew more urgent, and the amulet burned with an intensity that sent a thrill down Noah's spine. Leah revealed that she had been drawn to the city by her own ancestral whispers, guided by the same amulet that now rested against Noah's chest. Her family had been guardians for generations, and she had been trained from a young age to recognize the signs that would lead her to the flame. "The whispers have been growing stronger," she said, her eyes never leaving the crystal. "The shadows are seeking to claim the flame for their own purposes." Noah felt the burden of his role grow heavier. The whispers had led him to the flame, but they had also brought danger to his doorstep. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice a mix of hope and fear. Leah spoke with the confidence of one who had been preparing for this moment all her life. "We must gather the remaining artifacts," she said, unfurling the parchment she had brought with her. The scroll speaks of 5 pieces in total, each hidden in a different corner of the city. With all 5, we can unlock the flame's full potential. The parchment was covered in intricate drawings and symbols that seemed to shift and move before their eyes. It was a map of sorts, detailing the locations of the artifacts. Noah felt a rush of excitement mingled with fear. What perils awaited them on this quest? But the warmth of the crystal and the amulet reassured him. Leah's eyes searched his, seeking his commitment. "We must be swift," she urged. "The shadows will not rest until they claim the flame." Noah nodded, the gravity of their mission setting in. He had always felt a deep connection to his city's history, and now he understood why. It was his birthright to protect its sacred legacy. The 2 guardians embarked on their quest, the whispers guiding them through the ancient streets of Jerusalem. The first artifact was said to be hidden within the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the city, where the whispers grew louder and more insistent. The air grew colder, the scent of earth and dust thickening as they descended into the subterranean realm. The amulet's light grew brighter, a beacon in the dark. The tunnels were a maze of shadows, the walls whispering secrets that had been buried for millennia. They encountered riddles and traps that tested their wit and courage, but the bond between them grew stronger with each challenge they overcame. The whispers grew clearer, speaking of ancient battles and the guardians who had come before them. In a chamber where the air was thick with the scent of ancient incense, they found the second piece, a stone tablet etched with symbols that matched the amulet. As Noah's hand brushed the stone, the whispers grew into a chant, filling the space with an energy that made the hair on their arms stand on end. The tablet was cold to the touch, yet it seemed to pulse with the same power that thrummed through the crystal. Leah's eyes lit up as she recognized the next riddle on the scroll. The third artifact lies where the winds of change blow strongest. They ventured to the city's outskirts, where the ruins of an ancient fortress whispered tales of battles and triumphs long past. The amulet grew warmer as they approached the crumbling walls, and they soon discovered a hidden chamber within. The chamber was open to the sky, the wind whipping through it, carrying the scents of jasmine and distant olive groves. In the center stood a weathered stone plinth, and upon it, the third piece of the puzzle, a gleaming metal tome, its pages rusted shut. As Noah touched the tome, the amulet pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. The whispers grew to a crescendo, the spirits of the guardians seemingly cheering them on. They worked tirelessly, deciphering the riddles that led them from one artifact to the next. The fourth piece, a crystal shard, lay hidden in the depths of the city's aqueducts, its icy touch sending a shiver through Noah's soul as he claimed it. The whispers grew more urgent, their voices a cacophony of excitement and warning. The shadows were closing in, and they had to act swiftly. The final artifact, a gleaming silver key, was the most elusive of all. It was said to be in the possession of a descendant of a long-forgotten guardian lineage. They followed the whispers to a hidden synagogue, its walls adorned with ancient texts and artifacts long lost to time. The air was thick with the scent of candle wax and the weight of countless prayers. There, in the hallowed silence, they found an aged rabbi, his eyes filled with the wisdom of generations. He recognized the amulet and the crystal flame immediately, his withered hand trembling as he reached out to touch the artifacts. "You are the ones," he murmured, his voice a mere thread in the vast quiet. "You have been chosen to carry on the legacy." The rabbi revealed that the silver key was a family heirloom, passed down through the centuries, waiting for the guardians to emerge. It was said to open a chamber that had not seen the light of day since the time of the prophets. With the key in hand, the whispers grew into a crescendo, urging them to complete their quest. The chamber was hidden deep within the ancient stones of the western wall, the whispers leading them to a concealed passage. The air grew colder, the scent of earth and history pressing in around them. The amulet's glow grew brighter, casting eerie shadows that danced on the ancient stones. As they approached the final resting place, the whispers grew into a crescendo. The voices of the guardians passed, urging them onward. The wall before them was adorned with a mural of Elijah ascending to heaven in a fiery chariot, the flame from the crystal seeming to flicker in response to the sacred scene. The rabbi spoke in a hushed tone, recounting the ancient tale of how the key had been entrusted to his ancestors. His eyes gleamed with a mix of pride and fear. "Only when the chosen ones come together will the wall reveal the chamber," he said, his voice barely audible. Noah and Leah shared a determined look, the gravity of their mission etched on their faces. The stone slab before them shifted with a grinding noise, revealing a narrow staircase that spiraled down into the earth. The air grew colder, and the whispers grew faint, as if the very ground was holding its breath. They descended, the echo of their footsteps bouncing off the ancient walls. The amulet's glow, their only guide in the inky blackness. The staircase opened into a chamber, its walls lined with ancient texts and artifacts, all whispering of the Guardians' battles against the shadows. The air was thick with the scent of dust and the flickering light from the crystal in Noah's hand. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, carved with the same intricate patterns as the key. Leah stepped forward, her hand trembling as she inserted the silver key into a lock that had not been touched in centuries. With a soft click, the mechanism released and the pedestal's top slid open. Inside, nestled in velvet, lay the final piece, a gleaming metal band inlaid with the same golden flames that danced on the crystal. The whispers grew to a deafening roar, the chamber shaking with the power of their ancestors' spirits. The air grew warm, the scent of sandalwood and myrrh enveloping them. As Noah reached for the band, the amulet on his chest pulsed in time with the flame, and he could feel the energy of the room coalescing around the artifacts. Leah's eyes met his, and she nodded. Together, they placed the band on the crystal, and as they did, the flame grew, consuming the room in a brilliant burst of light. When Noah's vision cleared, he saw that the crystal had transformed into a staff, the golden flame burning at its tip, casting a warm glow across the chamber. The whispers grew silent, the air still and expectant. The staff hummed in his hand, the power of the flame resonating through every cell of his being. He could feel the ancient spirits of the Guardians flowing into him, their wisdom and courage becoming his own. Leah took a step back, her own eyes wide with amazement. "You are the Guardian," she murmured, her voice filled with awe. The whispers grew faint, but the echoes of their ancestors' voices remained, a constant presence in the back of his mind. "We must be ready," Noah said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his heart. "The shadows will not wait for us to prepare." Leah nodded solemnly, the gravity of the situation etched on her features. "We must train," she said, her eyes never leaving the staff. "Master the flame and understand the true power of the artifacts." Their days were filled with rigorous training and endless study of the ancient texts. The whispers grew quieter, but the presence of the Guardians remained, a subtle guidance as they honed their skills. They practiced in the hidden chambers of the city, the echoes of their efforts bouncing off the ancient stones. The staff responded to Noah's touch, its flame dancing to his will. He learned to wield it as an extension of his arm, the power of the flame, a force that could both protect and destroy. Leah studied the tome, its pages slowly unfurling under her gentle touch, revealing the secrets and spells that had been lost to time. As they grew stronger, the whispers grew more urgent. They spoke of a gathering in the shadows, a cabal of power-hungry individuals seeking to claim the flame for their own nefarious purposes. The air in the chamber grew thick with foreboding as they deciphered the final riddle, a time and place where the shadows would reveal themselves. The day of the rendezvous dawned, the air charged with an electric tension that made the hairs on their necks stand on end. The sun had not yet risen as they approached the ancient city gate, the whispers of their ancestors a constant hum in their ears. The shadows grew restless, and the scent of ominous intent hung heavy in the air. They moved stealthily through the streets, the amulet pulsing in rhythm with Noah's racing heart. The whispers grew clearer, pointing to a nondescript alley where the shadows congregated. Leah gripped her own artifact, the metal tome, its pages fluttering with an unseen wind. They knew that this was the moment they had been preparing for. Entering the alley, They found themselves in a courtyard, surrounded by ancient walls, whispering with the secrets of the Guardians. A group of figures in dark robes stood before them, their eyes gleaming with malicious intent. The air was thick with the stench of corrupted power. At the center of the group, a figure loomed tall, their features obscured by the shadows cast by a flickering torch. "You've come," the figure spoke, their voice a chilling blend of excitement and menace. The whispers did not deceive us. Noah tightened his grip on the staff, the flame at its tip burning brighter. Leah stepped forward, the tome clutched to her chest, her eyes never leaving the shadowed faces. "You shall not claim the flame," she declared, her voice firm and unyielding. The leader of the robed figures threw back their hood, revealing a face twisted by greed and anger. "We shall see," they sneered, raising their hand. A swarm of dark tendrils lashed out, reaching for the staff, for the light that threatened to expose their true nature. With a roar, Noah thrust the staff skyward, and the flame grew into a pillar of light that pierced the shadows, illuminating the courtyard. The whispers grew to a battle cry as the ancient spirits surged through him, filling him with an unyielding resolve. The tendrils recoiled, hissing and smoking in the face of the pure light. Leah stepped forward, the metal tome open before her. The pages fluttered wildly as she recited an incantation, her eyes glowing with a fierce determination. The air grew thick with the scent of ozone, and a barrier of crackling energy sprang to life around the Guardians, pushing back the shadows that sought to envelop them. The leader of the shadowy figures hissed in frustration, their eyes narrowing as they assessed the new threat. They raised their hand again, and the ground beneath Noah and Leah trembled as the ancient cobblestones began to crack and shift. The whispers grew stronger, a cacophony of ancient voices urging them to stand firm, to not let the flame falter. Noah felt the power of the staff surge within him, his connection to the Guardians of old unyielding. He knew this was not a fight they could win with brute strength alone. The whispers spoke of strategy, of the importance of knowing the enemy's weaknesses. He studied the robed figures, looking for any sign of fear or doubt. One by one, the shadows began to step forward, their faces contorted with malice. The whispers grew clearer, identifying the leader as the source of their power. Noah's eyes narrowed, focusing on the dark heart, beating within the shadowy figure. "Leah," he murmured, "we must break their link to the flame." Leah nodded, understanding dawning in her eyes. She began to chant a spell of seversation, the words echoing off the ancient stones. The air grew colder, the shadows retreating from the advancing light. The leader's eyes widened with fear as the incantation reached its peak, their control over the flame weakening. Noah saw his opening and struck, the staff's flame arcing towards the leader's chest. The shadows recoiled, shrieking in agony as the light seared through their dark essence. The leader staggered back, their grip on the shadows faltering. The ground beneath them cracked wider, threatening to swallow them whole. The other figures, their power diminished, turned on each other in desperation. The whispers grew fainter, the connection to the ancient guardians straining against the chaos. Leah's eyes glowed brighter, her voice rising in a crescendo that seemed to shake the very foundations of the city. The incantation reached its peak, and a brilliant flash of light erupted from the staff, tearing through the shadows like a sword through silk. The leader of the shadows roared, their form wavering as the light consumed them. The remaining robed figures fled, their cries of despair echoing through the alley as the shadows receded, leaving only the stench of their malice behind. The courtyard grew still once more, the whispers subsiding into a gentle hum of approval. Noah and Leah stood panting, the flame on the staff flickering but not extinguished. They exchanged a look of relief mixed with trepidation. "We've bought some time," Noah said, his voice hoarse from the effort. "But they'll be back, and next time, they'll be more prepared. Thank you for your time. God bless."